Greetings, brothers and sisters. I'm Professor Spira, and today we will continue our discussion of Arnold Ehret's views on fasting. I'll be reading some excerpts from Professor Arnold Ehret's Mucusless Diet Healing System, annotated, revised, and edited by Professor Spira. But these things can also be found in Rational Fasting for physical, mental, and spiritual rejuvenation. I'm in lesson 19, and I'm at under the part that says how long should one fast, and we're starting down here where it says, here is the point where human intelligence can correctively assist in the self-healing process by following adjustments which embrace the Mucusless Diet Healing System. So right there, I'll put if I remember, I'll put a link down below to an article I wrote where I begin to talk about the difference between intuition and intellect. Because the most successful Mucusless Diet Healing System practitioner is going to understand how to combine the best elements of both of those. You don't reject all intellectual dynamics of this process, and you don't reject all of your intuitive aspects. But you have to be able to discern, okay, what am I that I'm feeling intuitively? What is rational? You know, what is, if your intuition is telling you to go eat a Big Mac, then you can use your intellect and say, no, I don't think, no, that's not my true intuition. That's my addiction. Part of that is what's the difference? What's addiction and what's intuition? What is it that your body is really telling you? Okay, you need this. This is this, and it's on a rational, positive side versus the addiction that's telling you, okay, well, you need this over there, and it's like, wait a minute, I don't need that. So that's. Again, this is an art form. If this was total science, then each person could be told exactly the same, like this is how you have to do it. Like you have to fast exactly this long. Everybody, it'd be like a prescription. That's what doctors do. They give prescriptions of medications where based on certain factors, it's like, okay, you take two pills. You could have 100 people in a room. And maybe 60 of those people take 2 pills of the same pill. Like, okay, 2 pills, then the rest of the people, you take 1 pill, or maybe a couple people take 3 pills. So there might be a little bit of variation, but there's not a whole lot of variation from person to person in terms of some of these kind of prescriptions. With the Mucusless diet and with fasting, it's unique to each person. It's going to be very unique. So when I'm working with somebody that's getting into fasting, I never go in saying like, just automatically, okay, well, let's just start you out with a 3-day fast, or let's just start you out with a 24-hour fast. I've had people, we start off with a half a day or a 24-hour fast. And there's other people where we've started off with some long fast right off the rip. But it was in everything in between. So it was based on each person's physiological situation. So those nuances are important, and it's something that's lost oftentimes from people that get too stuck in the intellectual side. So you got to learn how to fuse and take the best aspects of both of those. Ehret continues, first, prepare for an easier fast by gradually changing diet toward a mucusless diet and by laxatives and enemas. So now the word laxatives gets problematic because Ehret does not promote unnatural laxatives or real harsh laxatives or even the more aggressive laxative kind of herbal things. He promotes things that are movers, so a better word would really be movers. And ultimately, the diet is of a moving effect, or it is says has an laxative effect. But it's not just it's not a purge. That's not what he's talking about. I think talking about things having a diet where stuff is moving, stuff is going through your system and eliminating, and then the enema, the enemas is first, one of the first places that comes up in these fasting lessons. Second, change shorter fast periodically with some eating days of cleansing, mucus poor, and mucusless diet. So, mucus poor, that's your mucus lean sort of things. And so where you add in a few little mucus forming items here and there, interspersed with your fasting. As you get a little more advanced, you're going to want to keep the mucus lean items further away from your fasting periods. So you're not going to want to break a fast and have some kind of mucus forming item. And that's a principle I personally teach from the beginning. Because most people don't have a great experience if you do a 2 or 3 day fast and then you break it with any kind of mucus forming item, or even eat a mucus forming item within the next couple days. Great methodology is to you transition back into where you would be having a full-blown mucus lean meal. Essentially, when you use that type of methodology, you extend you extend not necessarily the fast, but you're going through these other levels that oftentimes you might not spend a lot of time. Maybe you don't spend time eating nothing but fruit. You could go a couple days eating nothing but fruit, or just fruits and salads. Years later, you might get to a point where you go a whole year eating mostly fruits and salads. Maybe 20 years into the mucusless diet. But right now you're practicing, and you can't eat like that all year long yet. But you can eat like that for a couple days, right? You can do fruit in the afternoon and a salad in the evening for 1 or 2 days following a fast, perhaps, perhaps not. But the point is that it's a practice, and anything that you can do on a small scale can always be slowly grown to a more significant scale. So things that say 2 to 3 days, that can be multiplied, 6 to 8 days, or to so on and so forth. And that multiplication is going to be based on your physiological prowess and cleanliness and abilities and experience and all that kind of stuff. But don't get fixated on trying to always increase the length, because that's not what this is about. Your body will tell you when it's time to take things a little bit further. Third, be particularly careful if the patient used much drugs, especially if a mercury or saltpeter oxide of silver taken for venereal diseases, not anymore, have been used, in which case a long, slowly changing preparative diet is available. So again, it's about you and your physiology. So it's not about what you've seen other people say, where there's all these different YouTubers that do their, they track their fasts, and they say, this is day 10 of my fast. I'm feeling great. And I'd be like, oh, your thing has nothing to do with them. If you're entertained and you're getting something from folks, that's fine. But don't try to put yourself up against them in terms of this comparative, where you're trying to compare yourself to these other people, because they don't have your body. You have your body, and it's about your body. So maybe you can get some inspiration from watching what these other folks are saying about what they're doing, but don't get hard on yourself or feel like you're not working hard enough or you're not doing well enough because you can't do what they're doing, because it ain't about that. An expert's suggestion to fast until the tongue is clean caused many troubles with, quote, fanatical fasters. And I personally know of one death. You may be surprised when I tell you that I had to cure patients from the ill effects of too long a fast. The reason will be clear later. So when he says fast until the tongue is clean, elsewhere in the Mucusless Diet, Ehret talks about the so-called magic mirror, where he identifies the tongue as a magic mirror into the understanding and seeing the condition of your colon, the condition of your GI tract, because your tongue, the same tissue system and things that's in your tongue, is one long tube all the way down to your anus. Not the planet. So when your tongue has really got a whole lot of slime and stuff on it, then you can rest assured that the lining of your colon is going to be quite slimy and obstructed and things of that nature. And the entire tube, the entire GI tract, be slimy like that. And the object here is to eliminate the unnecessary sliminess of this system and pour that out, because when you get to a point where you don't have a whole lot of excess slime inside and throughout your body, you don't have all that on your tongue. You don't have all this this slime on your tongue. It clears up. But what Ehret's saying here is, it's not a good idea to use that as some kind of barometer as to when you should end your fast. Where if you get a whole bunch of slime on your come up on your tongue, and you're waiting till you wake up and there's no slime to end your fast, that's not a good idea. That's not what you want to be looking at in terms of how and when you break your fast. In spite of the above, every cure, and especially every cure of diet, should start with a 2 or 3 day fast. Every patient can do this without any harm, regardless of how seriously sick they may be. First, a light laxative, and then an enema daily makes it easier as well as harmless. So this is where, in practice, I would say, I differ a little bit from Ehret here in terms of there's been people that they seriously couldn't handle a 2 to 3 day fast, or it might not have fit even other, when you're working with somebody, there's other factors too, the people's jobs and their lives, and people, what their ailments actually are, what they're going through. So I don't even stick to that where I'm gonna just start somebody off automatically with 2 to 3 day fast. More so, most of the time I'll start people off on a couple weeks worth of transition diet. Especially if they're new to the Mucusless diet, we get into that. Then we start talking about fasting, whether it be maybe a 24-hour fast, or a day on fruit, or there's various, and we'll talk more about some of the variations that Ehret recommends, and then I'll even elaborate further on other variations that have become somewhat popular or prominent amongst experts and people that practice the Mucusless diet for a while. So I will put a cap on it there. The next time we will talk about how to break a fast. Probably one of the most important discussions about fasting is and I will venture to say that a fast is only as effective as how well it was broken. So keep that in mind when you're feeling good, or you feeling like you want to try to fast for a real long time, that if you lose control in the fast breaking process, then you can do more harm than you did good with trying to fast longer than you should have. So we will continue on with that the next time. I thank you so much for tuning in. I love you. And until next time, peace, love, and breath.